It's Victory Monday, and we chat with Chris Brown here after the Snow Globe. Beautiful scenery, beautiful big plays, beautiful win. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, the networks can't resist running highlights from this game. It's crazy. It's like moths to a flame when there's a snow game here.
It was a beautiful scene. I mean, the snow globe scene, and we got ourselves a game. I wonder if that the game that they flexed into the 425 spot was pretty good too. But this was supposed to be a 425, a night game, a Burrow versus Allen showcase. And let's just say the next time these two teams are going to go head-to-head, I bet it gets a very prime time slot because Burrow versus Allen certainly delivered.
Yeah, it did, and I think a lot of us anticipated that this game could be a shootout. We knew that the pass rush of the Bengals was nothing to write home about, and the last time the Bills played a team with no pass rush, they put a lot of points on the board. That was the Tampa Bay game back in Week 11, and I think we knew the Bills were down their best pass rusher, Joey Bosa, and might find it difficult to rush the passer too, and that's not a good recipe going against these two quarterbacks. You give them time, they will cut you to shreds.
Yeah. And the Bills had a good excuse for that. They were missing pieces, Chris. The Bengals, I guess they were missing Hendrickson too. We thought this would be a game the Bills could kind of do whatever they wanted on offense, and they really could have scored 50 had Ty Johnson not slipped and James Cook not fumbled.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that, but you're absolutely right. It's unfortunate that, Cook has gotten a little bit wonky with ball security the last couple of weeks. I'm sure he'll work to get that rectified this week. But, that was going to be the go-ahead touchdown for their first lead of the game. And were it not for the Bills' defense coming up with two giant takeaways on back-to-back plays, it's hard to know how that game would have ended. And, Cincinnati can make an argument they come out with the victory. I think it's worth noting, because I know the Bills' defense has had more than its share of detractors, even after this game was played and the win was in the books, which, I don't know, it still astonishes me a little bit. But first 6 games of the season, guys, the Bills had 6 takeaways. In the last 7, they have 14. So they have doubled their rate of takeaway production, and we know how fruitful that proved to be for them last season. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah, the defense, Chris, I wonder, the adjustments from first half to second half, or what call them adjustments, or maybe just call them a different philosophy. They decided to get a little bit more up on the receivers and start sending more pressure at Joe Burrow, because early on in the game, he had, like we just said, he had time and he was able to find his spots. It felt like the second half, the goal was to not only speed up the clock on him, but also speed up on the clock on receivers. These two teams always seem to play in these conditions also, where the receivers have to take these quick, choppy steps and everyone's worried about falling down. And for me, that was the biggest change in the game, was once they got up on the receivers a little more.
Yeah, there was too much cushion in the first half, and even Eric Wood noted it was eerily similar to the way in which Leslie Frazier would call this defense, particularly against the Bengals. Now, look, you do have to acknowledge the fact that that does prevent big plays, and you make them earn it all the way down the field. The 2 longest plays for the Bengals in the entire game were on their last touchdown drive on back-to-back plays to Gesicki and Higgins for the touchdown. Those are their longest plays. And I don't know if there was 1 or 2 over 20 yards beyond those 2. So you understand the approach, make them earn it all the way down the field. But when they're 7 for 7 on third down at half, you got to do something.
Yeah.
And you even heard McDermott say in the postgame, we realized that our rush and coverage was not meshed up at all, and we had to do something different. So give them credit for doing something different.
Chris Brown with us on the West Her Hotline. On some of those defensive plays, Benford, back-to-back Defensive Player of the Week, is very much in play. And, Chris, he might have started slow this year. He was dealing with some injury, too, but he certainly seemed to come on in the last month or so. And as you mentioned, this streak where they've been getting takeaways, Benford's definitely been a part of that.
Yeah, he's been. Can we keep blitzing him off the corner, please? That is fruitful, because he came on a blitz on the fumble return in Pittsburgh and just was in the right place at the right time to scoop that up and take it back for a touchdown. So, yeah, keep doing that. And I also think, I don't know what it is. I think we all know that Christian is an ultimate competitor. They've kind of had him 6 in the last 7 weeks follow the number one receiver when they're in man coverage a great deal. He's traveled with their number one, and I think he gets juice from that. I think he gets even more motivated to make something happen in the football game, because I think with the team coming to him and saying, we need you to lock down that guy, I think it inspires him to make more plays, and we're seeing it.
We also, of course, got vintage Josh Allen. I was joking earlier, like Mr. December, because when the calendar turns, you could talk about Sean McDermott and Josh Allen and Brandon Beane and the whole operation. They always win games in December. But to me, Chris, there were two things at work yesterday. I think it's not only Josh noting the time of year, the feel of what it's like to play this time of year, but I also think this season we've seen his best against other quarterbacks that are near the top. That's Lamar, Mahomes, even Baker. And yesterday, when Burrow's doing the thing he's doing, I feel like that is another thing that brings out the best in Josh Allen.
Yeah, he rises to the occasion, right? I mean, this is what we're used to seeing from Josh. When the stakes are higher, when the games are more important, Josh inevitably plays better. I mean, if you're not convinced of that, compare his regular season stats to his postseason stats. They're better in the postseason. He gets better when the games are more important. And I think, again, much like Benford, this is a guy that gets inspired when he's asked to do more or when the game means more. He just takes it to another level, and I think that's why just about every Western New Yorker that wears red, white, and blue is absolutely in love with Josh Allen.
Fourth downs were huge in this game. Chris McDermott went for 4 of them. Did you think when they got to that, it's been the last one, when they are trying to decide whether to go up 7 or go for the touchdown, did you think they were going to go for that in the moment?
I was wondering, but very quickly after the review of the Knox touchdown that was ruled not a touchdown, how that ball getting on the ground in his grasp is any different from Chase Brown's touchdown, I don't know.
Right.
That got called a touchdown, but that's another story for another day. After the review was done, I mean, McDermott had already determined the offense is going back out. And look, I think you have to give credit to McDermott for this. I think they're analytics aside, and he's got people giving him live analytics all the time to help him make those decisions. But I think he also does not dismiss the pace and flow and tenor of a game in weighing in on those decisions as well. And I think he realized we haven't really stopped Joe Burrow. So let's make this a 2-score game and score a touchdown here rather than a 1-score game, giving Cincinnati the opportunity to go down the field, score a touchdown, and then get a 2-point conversion and win. So I think all of that factors in, but how the defense was playing, recognition of time and score, I think he layers all of that into his decisions in addition to the live analytics. And, it paid off for Buffalo, and, Josh waited as long as he could again. And, Jackson Hawes made a nice play, spinning off a block to flash open for him.
To that exact point, were you watching last night when Andy Reid went for the 4th down in the Kansas City-Houston game?
Yeah, I was not. I bailed.
Okay.
I couldn't. That game for me, I was like, I don't know. My stomach was in knots on that game. I really don't want to play Houston. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It was one of those moments where, like, the numbers said go, but it's a 10-10 game, and nobody can escape the other team's ferocious defensive line.
And you're on your own, 30-yard line?
They're on their own 31. They went for a 4th and 1, didn't get it, and I feel like they lost the game there because Houston's in field goal range. They ultimately punch it into the end zone and win by 10. So, that's one of those spots where he got aggressive. He went by the numbers, but they called a bad play. They didn't get it, and they put Houston in field goal range. I thought Houston was dead. It was 10-10, and I thought Houston would never score again because they looked so lost. But
Yeah, that's an interesting decision because Andy Reid does have a good defense.
Yep.
Does have an excellent defensive coordinator. So, yeah, that's an interesting call there. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Well, here we are, Chris. It'll be New England week and Bills-Patriots, as the Bills will try to just keep the door open a little bit for the AFC East. I mean, we know they're very, very much in good shape to make the playoffs, but the division is not over yet. And maybe backs against the wall, the speech McDermott gave, he gave that kind of comparison this week, like we're playing with our backs against the wall, he'll be able to say that again, because if they lose, then they lose their run as champions of the AFC East, and I feel like that means we'll get the best version of the Bills and maybe the best of Josh Allen.
Yeah, they're going to be out for revenge, I think, because I think they felt that they threw that game away against the Patriots back in Week 5 with 3 turnovers, and the turnovers have to stop, and they've reared their ugly head on the road way too much, even in the win over Pittsburgh. So they've got to get that under control. Number one, they're playing a team coming off their bye. Number two, and yeah, you're right. It's single-digit chances to win the division. They basically need New England to lose 3 of their last 4, including the one against them this week. But hey, if you can delay it and delay them getting crowned, because you certainly don't want to see them crowned division champions in a game that you can't pull out against them. That would be a tough way to head back to Buffalo next week.
Chris Brown joining us on the Western Hotline. Thanks, Chris. We'll talk on Friday.
All right, take care, guys.
Bills win 39-34. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and if they run the table, I can kind of do it. There's a couple different things that will factor in terms of like who beats who, common opponents. In order for the Bills to win the division, they need to beat New England first, and then they need New England to lose to either the Jets or the Dolphins. And from there, they'd be tied on head-to-head. They'd be tied in the division. It would go to common opponents. And the Patriots still have to play the Ravens. The Bills still have to play the Browns, depending on how those 2 games go. So whatever. They don't have a great shot to win the division, but it certainly improves a great deal with a win on Sunday.